All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this November 19th, 2025 meeting of the Deerfield Ad Hoc Senior Housing Committee. I would like to share that certain meetings normally held at municipal offices are being held remotely with adequate alternative means of public access, and where required, public participation provided in accordance with House Bill number 62 of the 194th General Court, which extended the governor's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Mass General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 20, until June 30th, 2027. Our meetings are typically rebroadcast on Frontier Community Access Television, which I understand is back, but it has a new channel. And if you were a subscriber, you need to resubscribe. Okay. The meeting is called to order. The time is 5:01. Members present. Kathy Sylvester.
Um, yes.
And
So
Carolyn Ness.
am I
Yes.
here?
Oh, here comes Alex. Blake Gilmore.
Yes.
Pam Predmore.
Present.
Julie Dwight. Present. Duh. Sorry. And joining us tonight is Alex Galloway and Jason Clark. I'm going to assume it's Jason and not Melody, even though last week Jason said, yes, this is Jason was his name. I was very impressed with that. All right, we will take any motions or comments on the minutes from our last meeting of November 5th.
I'll take a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Second.
All right, all those in favor, Kathy Sylvester,
Yes.
Carolyn Ness,
Yes.
Blake Gilmore,
Yes.
Pam Predmore,
Yes.
Lily Dwight, yes. Okay, quick updates. And maybe Alex will be able to answer this question. I wrote to Town Hall to ask about retaining FERCog for the management of the RFP process, or does the town team take that stuff on now? And Christopher Dunn responded a couple of days ago and said that had we addressed the things that RDI was concerned about, and I responded that yes, we had made a number of changes and we're working with the Conservation Commission on the mitigation process, which I should probably poke Pete Law about again. But that so all of this said, we wanted to get our ducks in a row. And that part of that duck rowing would be, if we need to retain FERCog, getting in touch with FERCog and talking to them about doing this. So, Alex, I did respond to Christopher. I think I CC'd you. Did I do that?
Yep.
Good
Yeah.
for me.
Nope, that
Um,
was.
any update on that, or still hanging fire?
Yeah, I think so. I think, well, Greg was in the middle of finishing a procurement class. I don't know if it was his last one or like if he's comfortable enough. So we were like trying to figure that out. But also I have been working with Laura, who does the procurement for FERCog, on our the Jewett Ave barn disposal stuff. So it's not like we don't have a, good existing working relationship. So I think definitely we could figure that out
Okay, so
quick,
if we
you know.
want to, we do have CPA funds still.
Hmm.
So that if and this is also a sanity check. I'm not doubting your skill set as a team, but with everything else going on, does
Yes,
it make sense
appreciated.
to outsource this? Okay. So
Yeah,
if we could get just a decision from your team on that, that would be good,
yeah.
because I would rather get in touch with Linda sooner rather than later. Okay.
Well, it's not Linda anymore. It is Laura. She
I mean,
left.
Laura.
So,
Yes.
okay. All right.
Yes.
Just
All
want to
right,
make sure
Laura.
do you know
Okay.
what time you're trying to go for of releasing the
Last
RFP?
year we did February, and the recommendation is to give developers, I believe it's 3 months to respond because it's
Yeah.
complex. So we'd like to shoot for that again. Now, it
Okay.
does depend on what we hear from Josh Cuddy and those folks as well. And as we move into holiday season, it
Right.
gets uh a little more flopsy. But we're gonna keep pushing, right?
Oh yeah, I think push. I just February is kind of a hard timeline for contractors, right? Like they've already kind of booked out their summer potentially by that
Well,
time.
I
So
mean,
that's
Christine Medor
what
told
I
us
was
that's
curious.
when you do it,
That's when.
actually.
Oh,
Yeah, so that
okay.
they can be looking at stuff.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
if you don't make the September one, she said you want to do February.
Okay.
And evidently we failed to make September. So,
Sure.
all
Move
right.
ahead though. Yeah, yeah. I agree.
Okay.
Like
All
keep
right. So
pushing
that
it.
would be great if you can just talk to your team, all of you guys, and figure out your resources. Carolyn, you have a question.
Yeah, I would feel a little bit better if we were all ready to go at the beginning of January and we got it out sometime in the mid to end of January timeframe. Only because remember February, I mean, people are already engaged by February, I think.
But do you remember? I mean, Christine told us to wait till February last year.
I don't think I know, but I don't think it's really a big deal to put it out earlier and just extend it like
Well,
we
let's,
would is did it in February, because you can let it sit there for a little bit.
okay. All right. That I don't have any problem with that as long as it's makes sense in the business cycles of the developers. That's what I care about, right? So we're gonna get this RFP done. We're gonna walk through it tonight. We are gonna be ready, right? So we're gonna
Well,
talk
that's why I'm
management.
thinking if it's a couple weeks earlier, it wouldn't really be that big a deal, would
I
it?
don't know. I don't know. But that's something we can certainly ask Christine, and I'd be happy to email her that question.
Because I was thinking one of the things that we should be doing is we get this ready for mid-January and we actually have a list of contractors that we mail it out to. You know,
I think there's, I don't know if that's legit. What we did last time was we worked with Christopher and with FERCog and made sure that certain people were on the list, like the ones that we knew about, like I know about Loomis and Lathrop and those guys and stuff. But they're in charge of that process, not us, about mailing it out.
oh, okay. What I was just remembering that we should track. I was wondering if we could track down that consultant that we were not too excited about. I'm blanking on her name,
Yeah,
but she said that we had a very interesting proposal and she knew a lot of contractors. Obviously, this is pre change
everything. Yeah.
administration, but um the government is
Well,
open
so
and it seems like maybe we could track down a few and
okay,
give them to.
well, Carolyn, rather than us tracking them down, do you want to, if you go onto the drive and you go into our studies, you'll find, because they did the marketing study, if you want to contact her on behalf of the committee and tell her that the RFP is going out and that she had said that she knew developers and if she would either be interested in forwarding the RFP or giving us the list of the people she knows about, and we'll be sure that they get on the list that it goes out to.
Okay, yeah, no,
That
I'll
would
try
be
to
great.
track her. I just can't remember her name. I'll have to
Yeah,
go back and
it's
look it
in the
up.
drive. Yeah, it's all in the drive,
Okay.
or in all those emails. So
Yeah, I'll find her because we were kind of crabby with her going back and forth. So
yes, we were.
be a
It should be
email
allowed
train.
emails. All right.
Yeah.
Um, so let us review the RFP, shall we? Is everybody ready for that?
Mhm.
Okay, hang on. I will share my screen. Come here, you. Too many things going on here. Come here, you. Here we are. Browser. Share. Loading meeting controls. Boop. Oh, well, so that's not exactly helpful. You all can see that, right? With Kathy's comment?
Yes.
Excellent. I'm gonna skip all the, so we're gonna ignore all the dates. Kathy started talking about the dates and stuff. I'm like, all right, we'll leave all that till the very end when it's actually going out. So walking through here, Kathy's was wondering, can we lower this number of 60? I think that given the site, it's not going to be 60, but that we'll get more people's attention by leaving it at up to 60. But I'm willing to listen to other folks' comments. I mean, that's just my understanding of developers. Carolyn?
I know that if they are thinking of putting 13 units on the Cumbies little acreage, let's just leave it at 60. Who cares? They're not, I mean, it would be hard pressed to come up with 60, I think. But like you said, if you say up to 60, you're just leaving it wide open so somebody can be creative.
Kathy, you want to?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm just thinking of the, the residents in and around the area were concerned about having that number of units. At least that's the feedback I remember hearing, but I get your point. That you may attract more people to at least look at it with the number of 60. So, I mean, I don't feel really strongly against it.
But I take your point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pam, you're muted. Pam, you're muted. Can you try again?
I'll try that better. I agree with Kathy. I think, between 30 to 60 is fine. We may end up with 30 to 40 anyway, but let's see what contractors come up with.
Right, I'm a little confused. We agreed last time to take out the between 30 to 60 and just say up to 60 so that the
Right.
number could be smaller. So are you saying you think it
No,
should
I,
be
I
up to
think
40?
up to, no, I think up to 60 is fine.
Okay.
And we'll see what contractors have to say about the matter. They may, as you said, pointed out, they may have say, well, that's just not big enough for that. This is how many we think we can get in there.
Okay. Blake?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the neighborhood again. I mean, you say 60, you're going to have people that are going to be a little upset about hearing that number when you put that out there. So I think you've got to be pretty, even though you're doing it generally, let them know that it's probably not going to be 60, that type of thing, at least though that these people aren't going to get heartburn over the fact that you're trying to put a 60 unit senior housing on that lot. And so I would say, I know you're saying up to 60, but I think that the biggest pushback you have is the neighbors thinking they're going to have a high rise sitting on that lot next to them. So,
Um, so um one thing first, Blake, you keep saying you mean us, right? And we.
yeah, us.
Us and we.
Well, I'm more or less just answering what somebody else said. So, I mean,
Um,
that's what I'm looking
okay.
at. But it
So
is us. Yes, I agree with
yes.
that.
Yeah. So this RFP is going to developers, and throughout the RFP, it does say really particularly has to meet the character of the neighborhood. But well, actually, so Alex, do you have input specifically on the numbers? Because if we change it to 40 and that makes people more comfortable, do you think that eliminates developers? What are your thoughts then?
Well, I guess I have a couple thoughts, and sorry I wasn't at the last meeting, but did you guys talk about considering like a cottage cluster kind of thing? Like maybe
Absolutely.
like
Yeah, yeah.
10
That's
units?
why we changed it. It's no longer between 30 to 60. It's up to 60.
So
So
I'm
it's
wondering,
12.
oh, right. So I'm wondering if maybe instead of even assigning a numerical value to it, you could say, a development similar to a cottage cluster, and we could define that and
But
or
I
a
just I'm sorry, but if we said similar to a cottage cluster, then we're specifying the design and we're not allowed to do that. And also that we don't want to limit it to that, right?
Yeah, yeah, and
So,
like I mean like you could like talk about a range of different housing units and types, I guess. You know what I mean? You could like broaden it to maybe not just be like a dense
Christine told us
development.
we couldn't do that. You're not allowed to do that. You can just say the number, the number, or the minimum number and the maximum number.
right,
You can't tell them how or
how
what to
to do it.
develop.
Yeah.
Do you need to say a number at all, I guess?
Yes, because the developers, they're opening up this thing. This is the first paragraph. And if they're not somebody who develops small, so this is like senior housing developers, right? It's
Right.
not just so they're taking into account specific things about managing senior housing, and they know what pencils out. So if we were to say, 12 units or 15 units or whatever, then they would go no further. We would lose possibilities. So
Sure.
the idea by saying up to 60, the original one was 30 to 60. So if we said up to 60, we could, if somebody came in and said we want to do cottage clusters, but we can only get like 20 in there, then we can say fine, right?
Sure. Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Sorry. No, that's
yeah,
okay. You guys don't have to belabor it. I was just curious.
yeah. But the thing is, the real question is 60 too high a number? Because what Kathy flagged, what Pam agreed with, and what Blake agreed with was that makes people really worried. And mind you, the people who are worried are not the people this is going to, but it's representative of what's being put out there. So there are how many
Does
units are there
50
in
sound, I mean, does 50 sound any less intimidating than 60? In my
No.
mind, no. And you're
No.
not trying, you're not being able to tell them what to do. And you're never going to get 60 units on there, really, I mean, in
Well,
my mind.
to your
But when
point,
you start
if
capping
they
it,
were all studios, you maybe could. But anyway, I was trying to remember how many units are in Sunderland.
uh,
I think it's like
geez.
33 or
I
because they have
thought it was 24 and then the house in front had something in it too.
yeah, but I think it's more than 24. It's over 30 total. But anyway,
Yeah, it's over 30 because it had to be,
don't, yeah, RDI won't
we
do
had
less
to
than
make it
30.
profitable or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
RDI won't do less.
I just got informed it's 33 units.
There you go. That makes sense because it's 30 in the main building and I think 3 in that cottage and stuff in front.
Yeah.
So, um,
So, I mean, if we say up to 60 and we get only one contractor that wants to build 60, that would not be good.
it depends because if they're getting to Carolyn's point, if they're getting 13 into Cumbies, they could be studios, right? I mean, and maybe they could be 60, 400 square foot studios. But they couldn't be because they have to be accessible. So it's unlikely. But
Yeah, they
so
have to be
yeah.
accessible. You have to have 2 elevators. I mean,
All
you
right.
have to have a lot of
All right.
stuff.
What if we change
Yeah.
this up to 40? And the problem is 2 elevators, but whatever. Would up to 40 make people happier?
I mean, in the end, I don't think you're even going to get 40, but by putting it out as 40, you're going to have people that are not even going to look at it.
That was my concern about why we did 60.
I mean, if we
Yes,
put up
Wait, but
that's why we put 60 in the first place.
Kathy, what were you trying to say?
well, I guess if we're putting up to 60 because we want people to look at it, and then we get someone that wants to put 60 on there, which is unlikely, I guess.
Hmm.
But I don't know.
That's not what we want. I take your point.
Right.
We don't want them to put 60 in there. But on the other hand, we want them to look at it so they'll look at it twice and say, and so we can negotiate and say, well, this site is we're, site ready or whatever. And especially if Alex is able to get some kind of grant to clean up the site even more. But you want to be able to say, oh, look, we're doing PL 566. You're not going to have to put in your parking. You're not going to have to do this with
Right.
it's
But
already.
let's go back to the numbers, right? Okay. All right. So I think what we need to do is we need to take a vote and see who wants to do, if you want to do up to 40 or you want to leave it at 60. Does that seem like what the debate is?
I feel like I don't have the knowledge needed to make that decision. If you're telling me, because you have a lot more knowledge about this than me, that the best thing is to stay with up to 60, I'm good with that. I just am hoping that we wouldn't actually accept it in the end. But if it's going to get us more
Attention.
people to look at it, that's what we want. Hoping that, like you say, that they're going to see that that's an impossible number anyway. And maybe they'll get creative.
Okay. Pam?
One thing that occurred to me is I keep thinking back to, what my own experience has been in what I managed at the Amherst Housing Authority. I wish I knew what the acreage was with Chestnut Court, because there are 30 units there. With the exception of 2 of those units, they're all ground level. It's old enough so they didn't have to do elevators for the 2 units that are up above the community room and kitchen. So that would give me a better sense of the numbers. That being the smallest of the units or groups of apartments that the housing authority there owns. They're small. They're they're all 1 bedroom.
Right.
With a bathroom. The bedroom's separate from the main room. The main room consists of the living room kitchen, as it
Right.
were.
It's a studio.
Bedroom.
It's a bedroom, a 1 bedroom. Gotcha.
It's a 1 bedroom.
Yep.
But the other thing is there's not much parking. So, I keep thinking about, okay, how can I compare the church property, assuming that the church, that the 3 buildings there are not there anymore.
It's 1.77 acres, Chestnut Court.
How much?
1.77 acres.
At Chestnut, and this is 2.1 acres. Not all of it buildable.
Yeah.
Well, so what?
Thank you,
so
Kathy.
Pam, 60
Yeah.
or 40?
It's hard. I'm sorry. It's just, I think up to 40 sounds good, because if we could get that many, that would be great. But if a contractor said, I can't build 60, I can build 40, that's okay. So I don't know. I really don't know. I would like to make it as
Attractive?
thank you. I'd like to see it. I'm sorry, I'm really tired. I'd like to make it attractive to as many contractors as possible. So that we get something. We
Right.
get some suggestions, some offers. And then once they look at it, they may decide, well, we can't do that many there. So I guess I don't want to limit it. I think in that case, I would prefer to have it say up to 60, with the understanding that a contractor may come in and say, you can't get that many. And we say, okay, well, how many could you get?
Yeah. Blake?
I don't know if that's helpful.
Okay, so Blake.
Well, the only question I have on this, and maybe you guys can answer it for me, is that if we get a contractor that decides that he can put 60 units on there, making a high rise, is there some way we can say, no, you can't do that? Or is that a done deal and we're
Absolutely.
done for?
No, absolutely. So the RFP goes out and there's an RFP review committee because hopefully they're reviewing things that come back. And we've stated throughout the whole process that there's not going to be a high rise. That makes no sense. And in the RFP, it actually specifically states it has to be in the character of the neighborhood. But absolutely, we have the ability to say no, we don't want to accept. It's a proposal. We say no, well, we don't accept
Right.
that.
Yeah, I get that. I understand that. But I mean, if, for instance, that's the only one that you have that's bidding on this, does that mean it's going to be something that we're going to grab, or what do you think?
know,
Any thoughts on that?
Well, I would think it very unlikely. But I think that might be the sort of thing where you have a public meeting. If they make something beautiful, then we let the public have a conversation about it too. But
Well, I also feel that with that many units there anyways, you wouldn't have the proper parking, would you?
God, no, yeah. I
I
mean,
didn't think
so I
so.
mean, it's
I
just
mean,
it's really
I mean, you can always get a waiver. Planning
right,
board can grant a waiver, but
Yeah.
you can't grant a waiver for nothing. I mean, you're
right,
talking, you got to have a minimum of something.
right.
And it's not uncommon for developments with older adults to have less than one parking spot per unit. As a waiver, like 0.75 you can usually get away with. But even then, that would be a lot of parking. So yeah, I think that 60 is unlikely. The purpose of that number is to get people to look.
But
That's it.
my question is, that means we're kind of misleading. That's what I'm looking at as
An
well. I
interesting
mean,
point. Yeah.
you could get somebody that's involved and gets hyped up about it, and then you're saying, well, no, you can't do that many, and then we just lost another one.
Well, it does. I mean, it says in the other places in the RFP that it has to be in the character of the neighborhood. And
Okay.
so that, I mean, it does say that. So no one's going to be misled about that.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Carolyn?
Also, they do a site visit. If they're serious, they do a site visit.
Yeah.
And that's when you hope to negotiate. You've attracted them because you have up to 60. But then when they go to the site, they'll say, oh, maybe I can only get 35 here. But then, I don't have to put money into this or that or whatever. So the idea is to get somebody interested. Is not misleading because we had said up to 60 already in
Yeah.
the first RFP.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Pam?
When you talk about it's not going to be a high rise, what do you consider a high rise? Is it 3 stories, 5 stories, 4 stories, 2 stories?
Well,
What,
the church right now is what, 4 or 5 stories, but it's not going to be, I don't think it would be more than 3, but I don't know. I honest to God don't know. It would depend what it looks like. It would depend, you know, that we have the opportunity to see what they propose and to accept it or reject it. I don't think we need to do that in this meeting.
okay.
All we're trying to decide right now is this.
No, I hear you, Lily,
Okay.
and I was unclear personally as to what was meant by a high rise.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
I
That
think
was helpful.
that's true. 5, 6, 5, 6 stories high, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think there's
Hey,
no really.
Lily, I'm gonna head out.
You have
I
to
got to get
go.
into another meeting, so
Yeah,
I will. If I can get in touch with you, maybe tomorrow, you can fill me in on some of the other stuff.
sure.
All right.
Yes, we'll
Thank
do.
you.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
So I guess, am I getting the sense that we can just leave it at up to 60?
That's my vote.
I would say yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay, good. All right. Well, we made it past the first paragraph in 30 minutes. I thought this was going to be really fast because we did all that work last week or 2 weeks ago. Kathy pointed out 4 years. Yes, it needs to be changed to 4 years. Good
Okay.
catch. God help us all.
Lily, up above was the question about, there was another something in blue, 80%.
Yeah, we already talked about this.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure that that was covered.
Yes, I'm sorry. Um, that we changed all of the 60% of AMI to be 80% of AMI.
Okay.
Okay. And that is the minimum that we can do, or the maximum minimum, whatever, in order to qualify for funding.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry. Um, so this question is TBD if FERCog is going to be doing and so this process would obviously change if the town does it, and these dates would change, obviously. Um,
Are you sharing your screen or
yeah, you're not seeing it?
no?
Is it
I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I see it.
Why don't I see it?
You know
sharing?
what, Lily, just in the
Oh,
blue, I would, so that we don't forget, would you just put in blue January or February or something in those dates?
Let's just leave it because let's figure out, and we'll do it at our next meeting. Hopefully, we'll have an
Okay,
answer from Alex about who's going to handle it, and we will at least, have an answer from. I will email Christine about when is a good time
okay,
to do
all
this.
right. I just didn't want us to mess that up.
Okay, yeah.
I can't see things, so
Why can't you see it?
Well, Kathy, could you have lost it when you went out and looked up the information about
Oh,
just
yeah.
report?
no, because I didn't go out. I
Oh,
have another screen open. I do that a lot when we're questioning certain things. Um, I must have hid something.
Hmm. Um,
Oh well, I could always come back and
well, if you want to, why don't you open the doc on your other screen, and I'll tell you we're on page 6.
okay.
Okay. And at the bottom of page 6, it's talking about development objectives. We're going to switch that to be maximum of 60. And we decided that we would add studio. It says the development program should be a mix of 1 and 2 bedroom units. And we decided last meeting that we would add studio as well. Everybody still good with that?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And then there's the 80% AMI again. And so here's the question. So Kathy, should we eliminate this since we know developers likely won't be able to repurpose it? That is a legit question. Um, Alex, have you heard anything about the demolition grant thing that you were chasing?
Not since the CCI. It wasn't a demolition grant, but it was just that brownfields
On
assessment
brownfields. Oh, I
first.
thought you were looking at ways to get monies for
Well, I'm
too.
trying to figure that out too. I mean, that could be part of this RFP. You know what I mean? Like it could be on the developer to either demo it, or it could be
Well,
even,
that's in this RFP, it is on the developer to do it, but they didn't like that. So that's why
yeah,
Kathy put this question here.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think you could even just reword it so that it's not so strongly written. Because I actually had that in a note of mine from August that was like, it's pretty strongly emphasized that reuse of the buildings is, desired. But
Well, that will mean we won't get senior housing.
it could be a little looser. You know what I mean? We could just like, you could rewrite it so it's a little less, like it's optional. Like I think it's cool to keep it on the table, but you could at least like change how your criteria is evaluated too, because I think it's in the evaluation criteria of like, reuse of the both buildings is like highly ranked or something, highly advantageous or something too.
In the 3 different ones, but yeah. But
Yeah.
you know, so this paragraph acknowledges that there are three existing buildings.
Mhm.
And, of the three, only the church is preferred to be preserved for reuse, but maybe we could just delete that. And leave the town favors development concepts where community-oriented use is incorporated into the church building program. Or do you think that's too strong? See, because then we can leave it in the advantageous thing. And then
Right.
just and then the next sentence says that the developer is responsible for demolition if the reuse is not feasible. Maybe change that to say the town will work with the developer on the demolition if it's not feasible.
Uh, Well, I don't know. So I haven't found much for demo grants. They usually had to be connected to like either a brownfield site or they had to be a commercial, economic development nexus. I don't know that I've seen any for like specifically senior housing. There's some that like vaguely talked about affordable housing. Demo is like one of those things that grants just like don't generally like to pay for, it's not.
Right. Um, and so somebody said it's going to cost like 100 grand to demo those buildings, right?
Well, I
Um,
mean,
I-
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
oh no, I was just gonna say, the you have to have environmental hazards with, hazardous material, lead and
Yep.
asbestos and all that kind of stuff. So that's an expense of, around $10,000. And then you have, even now you have a rodent report, and that's, $1,000. And then the demo, I think, is realistic to say is around 100. So we're talking, I mean, less than 150. I think you could do it for less than 150, but you're probably pushing 120, 125 without question. And that's if we encounter no real issues. Lead paint around the windows or something like that. But if you have extensive lead paint or extensive,
So I think that because we have, sorry to interrupt, but I mean, it's just, what do you guys think about we have money from the CPC for site preparation, right? It's 72,000. Um, and if we retain FERCog, it would be like, say, 69,000 or maybe 68,000. But what if we say that the town would work with the developer um, in the demolition process if reuse is not feasible? It just leaves it open that we would be able to use, I mean, maybe we do a 50-50 split with a developer or something like that.
I think it's an excellent idea. And I like the wording, it's more vague. I think it's important to be vague. And then, well, no, because the developer, if he's coming in to develop, he might be able to figure out the demolition part as a lesser expense. I'm just talking about it as being a separate expense all by
Yeah.
itself. If you went out to bid for that kind of thing right now. But if the developer's doing it part of his business, he could maybe figure it out. And if we're willing to um work with him on contributing to it, I think we should just say contribution. Town would make a contribution towards
Yeah.
site preparedness or something like that. I think that's the best way to do it because
Okay.
he might, if we have 65,000 to put towards it, might work.
Yep. Okay. Pam, does that wording work for you?
Yeah,
Kathy, does that wording work for you? And you're muted.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alex, do you see any problems with that wording?
I mean, I don't know. I guess I just don't like to box the town into like a having to, or like showing your hand when you're gonna go broker a deal is not always,
Good
a
point.
good way to negotiate in your best interest.
But what if
So
you were saying the town will work with the developer?
it, Yeah, I mean, it would be yeah, I think work with or negotiate or, like, I mean, but that's like inherent probably. I feel like in a lot of the other spots too.
Well, it says
Um,
specifically the selected developer will be responsible for demolition. It says
yeah,
right there. So that I think might be part of what scares people away.
right. Yeah, no, I agree. I just feel like there's got to be a florally way to change that.
Gotcha.
And
We'll tell you
maybe,
what, I'll draft something on this paragraph and
yeah.
we can all talk about it at the next meeting. How about that? And what
Yeah.
we'll do
Yeah,
is
oh no,
I'll
I didn't want to put a number in. I just said negotiate. I wanted to say that we would be contributing or negotiating too.
right. Yeah. Okay. All right, so I will work on this paragraph here under site, Kathy, when you're doing your minutes there. So since I can't actually work on it right now and mark it up now because I'm sharing, um, to make it a little more open. Okay, scootling through. None of this changes. None of that changes. These are requirements. Okay. So we had talked about that making the proposer not required to have 5 years experience in development housing so that we might actually get people with newer ideas and different ideas rather than the same old, same old. And we said just leave it as experience in development of housing. And Kathy is asking, well, do we want to say that you have to have 3 projects? I think we do need to at least have a 1 project in this, I think. Um, because we want to make sure that we're getting somebody legit and with experience who isn't gonna come in with a low bid and be unable to fulfill it. So,
I
um,
agree, but I'm gonna have to leave. So I'm
oh
sorry.
yeah, you do. Oh,
But
all right.
yeah, I was just thinking we probably should have less than 3 if we're giving them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How about just say a record of projects of
that's,
similar scope or complexity? Just remove the number.
sorry, I have to
Yes.
go.
Yeah,
If
you
I,
do.
if I get this over with, I can try back and see if you guys are
Okay.
still.
But so now somebody needs to take on the minutes, right?
Yes.
Um, and I can't do that and share this. All right, you go away, Kathy. Thank you very much. I think that let's just scoot through. Did anybody else make comments besides Kathy? Did any of you guys make comments besides Kathy? Okay.
I did not.
Well, I'm a little leery of, I mean, I guess we can remove the number. And if we get somebody with no experience, we can just say no, but I
No, it
think,
says you have to have some experience.
yeah, I mean, and I think
A
it's really
successful
important that we
track,
have,
show a successful track record of
yeah,
projects of similar scope or complexity.
yeah. I mean, I didn't have any, I didn't mark up any of this stuff because I didn't think that we needed to change it. But
Okay.
I'm okay. I'm
Okay.
okay with removing the 3, but we do
Okay.
have to have references.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's all part of the requirements anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the site design. This is where Alex brought up the thing about advantageous, maybe. Let's see. Use standard exterior stormwater, landscape area, solar power, practices and elements time green development, permeable pavement. No, not there. Um, that's not gonna. So where did you see? So here we said a record of success for at least 1 project, right? Um,
Yes.
so let us see. Let's look for demolition. Okay, there's one of them. That's it. That is the only time demolition is mentioned in the document, so it's actually not considered part of the advantageous, more advantageous thing. So this would be the only place. Okay,
Can I make it one comment about
yeah,
town favors development concepts where community-oriented use is incorporated into the church building? It just occurs to me that
sorry, I gotta take notes while you talk.
we're going to have community space available in the new library edition. That's going to be available after hours to groups. So that's one place where there's community availability. Depending on what they end up doing with the existing town hall, currently that space that's available. There's the space that's currently being used by the library until the new library edition is going to be open for business, which will be on about January 3rd.
Mhm.
So there's quite a bit of community space already available. So do we really need to look for more? I like the idea of community space for the residents of the place. So they would have their own community room, but it doesn't have to be for the entire town of Deerfield.
I don't think that that's what this is saying, but I don't, um,
Well, it's the definition of community. Are you
right.
talking
Yeah,
about the
about
entire town, or are you talking about the
residents.
residents of the apartments in the senior housing? That's very different.
Yep.
Sorry, I've got to jump off.
Okay.
Take care, guys.
Bye, Alex. Um, so,
That's actually a good point. We could clarify that, Pam,
yeah,
because when you do read it, you are talking,
just-
it does look like you are talking about a community space
right.
versus, how about residential community space?
How about we don't say it at all? All
All
right,
right.
because I mean, to Pam's point, there's going to be a lot of community space. Most, I gotta say, I don't think I've ever seen a senior housing development that did not incorporate some sort of community space for the residents. So I don't know that we even need to say that. And if somebody creative found a way to turn the church building into housing, God love them, right? If it keeps the profile of the church and stuff. So we'll just get rid of that whole thing. How about that? Does
Yeah,
that
I'm
work,
okay with that. That makes
Pam?
sense, Lily.
Pam? What do you think, Pam?
I wish there were some way to keep the idea in there of um, a community room for the residents, something like that. I mean, if one of them wants to have a baby shower for their daughter-in-law, or they want to have, whatever, something like that, because I know that both Chestnut Court and Ann Whalen Apartments
Yeah.
have a community room.
That's my point is that
Yeah,
senior developments have a community space.
that's right. So
But what the
I don't
point
want
so what I'm
to,
saying here is we don't need to say it has to be in the church. That's what I'm saying. And that's what this sentence says.
so where in this can we say that we want apartments with community space available to the residents? The other thing is that whoever ends up managing this may need and want to have an office so that,
Absolutely. And I mean, if you look at what happened in Sunderland, that is a part of, hang on, I'm just trying to see if they actually have public is probably the wrong word to use here in my search. Um,
both Ann Whalen Chestnut Court and the oh Lord, the third property on the corner there by Chestnut Court used to be a fraternity house, but now it's
So
specialized.
proposals that include community space with a kitchen to serve tenants and visiting families are highly desirable.
Yes, yes.
So we've said this. That's the thing is we did go through all of this in the original RFP, which I know was a year ago.
Okay.
So we
Yeah,
do
I like that, Levy.
concept. We do have that concept. The problem that is being pointed out here, where did it go? There we go. The problem being pointed out here is it's saying specifically that the town favors development where the church is turned into a community space. We don't need to say that, right? Then that's being really directive, actually. They could, if they want to turn it into housing, that's great, because we've said that community space must exist.
Okay, thank you. That's clear.
Does that make sense to everybody? Okay,
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
all right.
I didn't catch that, Lily. I'm sorry. I just thought, I supported all that we had written down, but
Okay.
that makes total sense to eliminate it.
Yeah. And then that makes it less proscriptive, which was one of the
Yes.
concerns that we heard. Okay. And so we talked about this, that this is going to be successful track record of projects. And this is what we all talked about last week. And at least one example project with residents, Pam. I think you were the one who pointed that out, that we want to make sure there are humans in there that we can talk to.
Yeah,
And that the rest is documentation. All right. So I will draft.
The only thing, Lily, I just think that we need to just bookmark is when we put all the documentation that goes with this, that we make sure it is the most updated at that time. In case something changes with the Conservation Commission or whatever.
Well, yes, because there is something that the ORAD is good for until a certain amount of time. So that's a good idea. Yeah. But we're not there yet, but hold that thought, because we're coming back to this. And I think that especially once we have the answer from the town hall, if they're going to manage the RFP or if FERCog's going to manage it, then we can start getting this real with dates and everything. Once it's just really important that we have done our work and that all the meat is there, and all that the people putting it together just need to make sure the attachments are correct, as you say, and all that stuff. Hey, why is my hand up? Go down, hand. Okay. So we're gonna review the annual town meeting report next meeting. Not tonight, okay?
Yes.
All right.
I think it's just a little early.
Yeah.
so when is our next meeting?
December 3rd at 5 o'clock. All right, so we have 6 minutes. Jason, you are the only public remaining. Have you any comments? All right, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make that motion, Carolyn.
Pam?
I'll second it.
Good answer. All right. All those in favor, Pam Predmore,
Aye.
Carolyn Ness,
Aye.
Lily Dwight, aye. So we are
And happy Thanksgiving,
Aye.
everybody.
yes, and to you as well. And we will see you all. I want to try and